Hey everyone. So this is a video I've been wanting to make for some time now. I don't know why I have put it off, but let's talk about this outer darkness. We'll note that this phrase outer darkness only occurs in 3 verses of the New Testament, where the verse I have highlighted here is the parable of the talents, where when you get to the end of the parable, this one did nothing with the talent. He's called evil and tarrying slave. Unusable slave. So, in so many words, this one will not come into the wedding feasts back here, the parable of the wedding feast that precedes the parable of the talents. He'll be one saying, Lord, Lord, open to us, Lord, Lord. So, that's the sobbing part, where the gnashing of teeth is always the enemy, who is never sobbing. They're always angry. So there's 2 sides to the sobbing and the gnashing of teeth, where this designation unusable slave points to another parable. Luke chapter 17. So this parable concludes with them saying, we are unusable slaves. So even though they're unusable, they still will be able to come into the allotment of the regency at the conclusion, at the end. So when you read this parable, you see that Jesus says, who out of you has a plowing or herding slave as having come in out of the field? This is the resurrection now. The field is the cosmos. Matthew chapter 13 parable of the darnel and the grain, which the grain are sons of the regency. They're the sons who will be cast out into the outer darkness, but still be able to come into sup, but not before they prepare and gird themselves. And as long as I eat and drink, and then you will eat and drink later, which is a presentation of grace. The unusable slaves, only having done, it says, what we were indebted to do. Again, if we come back here to the parable of the talents, the unusable slave is called evil and tarrying back here in verse 26. You evil and tarrying slave, which brings us to other parables now. Luke chapter 11, where we're given the timeline of midnight. This is when the door to the wedding feast shuts, and this one is outside requesting 3 bread. Midnight begins the 3rd watch time. Those locked out into the outer darkness, where if you jump down here to verse 13, Jesus said, hence if you being evil and tarrying, perceive to give your children good gifts, and how much, much more will the Father out of heaven give Holy Spirit to those requesting from him. So the knocking and the opening in the same parable here concerns the doors of the wedding feasts according to the watch times. The parable of the doorseer, the doorkeeper, Mark 13, 34, and 35. So the opening of the door to these will be at the sign given Peter, the 3rd watch time. Luke 12:38. The 2nd watch time concludes at midnight, where they're locked out saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. So they're still blissful are those for the 3rd watch time, for those evil, tarrying, who did nothing up until midnight, where here's the wedding mentioned again. So the outer darkness are for those who are locked out at midnight when the virgins enter with their brightening lamps. When Paul said that, for you all, you are sons of the light, these are those who have the brightening lamps and the oil and the lamps to be made burning. And sons of the day, we are not sons of the night and sons of the dark. Consequently, what? We should not be down resting as the rest, but watch and be sober. Key word. But remember, they still will come in at the finishing of the third watch time. They are sons of the regency. This is where we find one of the other occurrences of outer darkness in Matthew chapter 8. But the sons of the regency will be cast out into the outer darkness. There will be sobbing and gnashing of teeth. They will be sobbing, and the enemies will be gnashing their teeth at them. Remember, the unusable slave is coming in out of the field, where in Matthew 13, the parable of the grain and the darnels, which I've made a whole video series talking about these parables, we read, but the field is the cosmos, but the ideal seed, these are the sons of the regency, but the darnel are sons of the evil one, diabolos. They're the cursed of Matthew 25:41, where the sons of the regency who will come in prior to the sons of the evil one being cut off from the allotment are the right hand of Matthew 25:41. But not before they're into the outer darkness as foolish, locked out of the wedding feasts at midnight. So there's two sides to the sobbing and gnashing of teeth. Again, those gnashing their teeth are the enemies. Lamentations 2:16, for example. All your enemies have gaped their mouth on against you. They have hissed and have already gnashed teeth. Psalms 36:16. In among polluters, scornfully laughing ones of feast cake. The offered food is refused by them, to gnash their teeth on against me. The wicked is planning against the righteous. The righteous, Matthew 25:46, the right hand who come in last, and gnashed his teeth on against him. So there's two sides to the context of sobbing and gnashing of teeth. Sobbing are the righteous who will turn back and return to Yahweh in the third watch time. Those gnashing their teeth will not. They will go into the curse. So this is how we interpret the outer darkness. Thanks for watching. God bless.